Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Rachel if you are new here, or if you're a returning watcher, hello, I'm so excited to see you guys today. I have a super fun video today that I've been preparing to shoot for a couple weeks now, but not gonna lie, I've been a little bit intimidated and just a little bit nervous. For today's video, we are going to be doing the BOOKTUBE newbie tag questions. I'm super excited and, like I said, a little bit intimidated by this. So we're gonna get into it. The first question for the BOOKTUBE newbie tag is, why did you start this channel? I have so much anxiety right now. I, believe it or not, am very much an introvert and I love connection and community. So it makes it kind of hard to be an introvert when you like adore community and you love connection and you love like building relationships, because being around people drains the hell out of me. But I love it at the same time. I really honestly decided to start this channel, number one, because I'm fucking obsessed with books, like to the point where I need someone to talk about this, because my husband is getting just the short end of the stick because I read so quick and I just want to talk to someone about it. I love books, everything about books. They have given me comfort in some of the hardest times of my life. Number two, I love connection and community. I love people, but I am hella introverted and it is draining for me to always be out and about, or even like running errands with friends. I'm one of those people, and I don't know if other introverts are like this or if this is just me, but like I'm a one type of thing per day max. I have friends that are extroverts. My husband is an extrovert. My sister is an extrovert. And my sister especially, she can go and do like 12 things in one day and I would be exhausted, tanked. Like it physically drains me, and mentally and emotionally. I really started this channel as a way to like find my happy medium and have this connection and community aspect without getting super burnt out. I work from home by myself, except for I have 2 dogs, so I guess they're my coworkers, and I run my own business. So I don't have a lot of connection. I don't have coworkers. There's some weeks where I literally only talk to myself, my daughter, and my husband for like 5 whole days. So I really wanted to start this channel as a way to express my passion for books and how much books have healed me actually, and how much books offer to people who are willing to like just hop into them. And number two, to connect with you guys. Like I need friends in my life. I need community in my life to feel fulfilled. The next question is, what are some fun and unique things you are going to bring to this channel? Okay, well, I watched somebody else's BOOKTUBE newbie tag and she was a white woman with red hair and she was like, what's unique about me? I'm a white woman who likes to read. And it was just really funny because, I mean, same. Not very unique in that aspect, but I will say I have like a different approach to reading and books. I love sharing it. I'm hella passionate about this. Like you can just tell from my videos, the way that I talk about things, my energy, my magnetism. Like when I'm here for something, I'm all the way fucking here for it. I think that that translates in a really unique way. Also, I would say another thing that I'm bringing to this channel that is kind of different or unique is like, I do not judge. And I also do not believe in like shaming myself or shaming anyone else. I feel like if you like the dirtiest, raunchiest, like smut, cool, dude, I'm gonna support that. If you have a book you want me to read that you love, I'll fucking read it. If you are a person who's like, I don't like smut at all, I don't like spice at all, I think it's just not for me, cool. I've got recommendations for you that are YA. I've also got recommendations for you that are just fantasy. The thing for me is I believe that there are connection points to be made with everyone in the world. I think that if we take time out of our day and we take time to notice things, there is not a single person on the planet that I could not find one specific connection point with. It could be something as small as I like the way that the wind feels against my cheeks, or it could be something as unique as like we read the same book and we fucking loved it, or we have, you know, similar taste in music. I feel like if your intention is to connect, you will connect. If it's coming from a place of like judgment or shame, it's impossible to connect with people when you're just judging them or shaming them or shaming yourself. It's really hard to connect with others. I guess that would be my unique approach, is like, listen, we're gonna talk about everything. You're never gonna feel judged or shamed here. Like that is never gonna be a thing that you experience. I am all about acceptance of self, acceptance of one another. I believe that the parts of us that we are taught to be ashamed of or the parts of us that are quirky or different or weird, I personally believe that those are the most magical parts of ourselves. If someone is like, oh, I'm just really weird, I want to know what you think is weird. I want to know what your quirks are. It's going to make me love you a million times more. I believe that in order to find our uniqueness, we have to kind of like unlock those parts of ourselves. We learn that the parts of us that make us different are too much or too weird or too quirky. And I don't believe that. I believe that your weirdness is your secret sauce. I embody that. So when you come on my channel, you might not see a lot of other people who talk like I do or share like I do or read the books that I do or laugh or make silly sounds and stuff. It's just, I'm me. And that's what I think is really unique about just booktube in general. I feel like booktube is such a welcoming community and there's so much acceptance, and I just feel like it's okay for us all to just be ourselves, and not only is it okay, but it's celebrated, and that's something that you'll experience from this channel as well. I'm getting a cold. I'm sure you guys can tell from my voice, so I'm drinking some elderberry tea, elderberry and lemon tea. It's really good, and this is one of my favorite mugs. The next question is, why do you love reading? This is such a hard question, especially for someone who goes off on tangents for 500 years, because I don't want to do that to you guys, but there's so many reasons why I love reading. Growing up, for me, I had like a really traumatic childhood, and reading was always a magical place that I could go, that even when my environment was fucking hell, I found like this center, I found this peacefulness, I found this serenity in reading and escaping into my books. As I got older, I kind of stopped reading for a while. I actually enlisted into the Air Force. Reading kind of became a chore once I was in the military and once I was like working a adult career in the Air Force. And then once my daughter was born, it was like, when do I have the fucking time? Like, I just forgot about how much joy reading brought. And a couple of years ago, I got really sick. I had a really bad cold for like 2 weeks. I could barely move. I was just like posted up on the couch. And so I found this vampire book. It was the Crave series, which seems so funny looking back on. That's what got me back into reading. It's a good series. It's definitely a good series if you're a YA lover. But anyways, I started reading again, and it was like this part of me was unlocked, and I forgot how much fun it was to read. As an adult, I feel like we forget how to have fun so much, and reading for me is just fun. It's something to do just for joy. There is no like specified outcome. It's not, oh, well, if I read this, then I'm gonna be able to do this. Or if I read these many books, then I'm going to get XYZ. Like, no, it's just Rachel loves reading, so Rachel gets to read. And it kind of like feeds my inner teenage self as well. Just allows me to have fun for no other reason besides having fucking fun, because we all deserve to have fun and bring joy into our life. Reading brings immense amounts of joy to my life. It seems silly almost to the level of joy that it can bring into someone's life, and I just think it's so important for us to cultivate that. For me, I love reading for multiple reasons. I love it because it can offer us an escape from the hardships that being a human on earth can come with, and also there's just like this immense amount of joy that is available to us when we pick up a book, and I love getting lost in my imagination. I'm very visual. I don't know, I love it. I literally could do a TED Talk for hours about the benefits of reading, so not gonna subject you guys to that, but I could do it. I could do it if I had to. Okay, what are your favorite books? This is hard because I love reading. And I read so many books. You know, year by year, my favorite books change. When I was a kid, I don't really remember the books that I read. Like I said, my childhood was like super traumatic, so I don't know how much I read, and I don't have anyone to ask that. But when I got to be like a teenager, that's when, you know, Twilight was really popular, the Hunger Games. I loved Vampire Academy, marked within the House of Night series by PC Cast. I am a really big supernatural spooky girl. So anything like witches, werewolves, vampires, fairies, high fae, like I just love all of that. When I was a teenager, that's when all of that was really popular. Divergent, I really loved. I like end of the world type of thing, like apocalyptic books are cool and dystopian books are really cool. There's honestly not much I would not read. I'm pretty open to like everything. I really love Shakespeare too, which is so weird, but like in high school when we were studying Shakespeare, it was the highest that my English grade has ever been. I loved it. I just understand it so deeply, the emotion that is behind Shakespeare. I remember like when I was a kid reading Junie B. Jones a lot. I feel like people who read Junie B. Jones are now rom-com girls, and people who read Twilight are now like ACOTAR girls. Now, some of my favorite books, I love the Throne of Glass series. That has to be one of my favorite series of all times, which is really, really interesting because you guys know, if you've been on my channel for a while, your girl likes spice. I like spicy books, I like smutty books. Throne of Glass does not have like smut in it. It's a little spicy, like I would say like a half a pepper, maybe, barely any spice. It was one of my favorite book series still to this day. I also loved Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. It is dark romance, like I mean dark romance, but the plot was so good and I still think of that book like on the daily. Throne of Glass is my favorite series, and I really love Does It Hurt lately. This question is kind of hard. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? Okay, there's a couple for me. Number one, I am clinically diagnosed OCD and ADHD. So for me, I oscillate, we'll say, between these two different versions of myself, where number one with OCD, like I want everything to be perfect. I want it to be just right. I don't want to put videos out there that don't feel like an expression of Rachel. I don't want to put videos out there just to put videos out there. I don't want to like half-ass the editing process. Like I said in the beginning of this video, like when I'm here, I'm fully here. And that's how I function in everything in my life. Like presence is really important for me. And one of the things with being OCD and also loving to create and being an online creator and having a booktube is things sometimes have to be just right for me. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't have OCD, you're gonna be like, I'm not sure what that means. It has to feel right before I put it out. And I know that has been something that's really held me back in my online business, because sometimes you just need to get stuff out, right? Like I'm nervous about missing uploads because I'm editing too much, or I'm trying to make it perfect, and like perfect doesn't exist, but my mind sometimes can make me believe that it does. And then there's this part of me that's also ADHD, so it's like, you know, forgetting or being just too exhausted from my day to film and stuff. So that's gonna be one of the biggest challenges for me, I think, is like number one, consistency, and number two, just putting a video out there because I love doing this and not trying to make it perfect 100% of the time, because that's like also exhausting. I don't want to get burnt out from being on booktube. I want it to be something that I do for myself because it brings so much joy. And that's really my mindset in this space, is like, I love this. I love this so much. And I love connection, and I love meeting new people so much, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing it because it needs to be perfect or there needs to be like an attached end result. I get to do it just because it's fun, you know? Another part that I'm like really nervous about, and I didn't really realize how nervous I was about it until I started this actual video right now. This is gonna get deep. I hope this video is not super long for you guys, but booktube is such a massive community already. And I've been really wanting to be a part of it for the past 3 years, but I've been afraid, to be honest with you guys. I know it's probably hard to tell, like I'm introverted and I have like fear of visibility because when I'm here, I'm fully here, right? But growing up, it was always safer for me to be invisible in my household, like to not be seen, not be a burden, just, you know, just exist type of thing. It's really actually outside of my comfort zone to be every week showing up here and putting out a video and putting myself in a space where I am very visible and growing continuously. It's what I desire, it's what excites me, and at the same time, it's really fucking scary, especially because I feel like I'm infiltrating a community that's already really close-knit, and I just really want to be accepted into the community, and I want to feel like I fit in somewhere, you know? That's like definitely on my trauma from growing up. I just feel like I had a lot of friends, but I was never like in one group. I really don't like boxing myself in, but also at the same time, like I crave having this deep community of people that just get me. And I think being understood versus being misunderstood is a really big fear of mine with being on BookTube. So that's like super deep. And with that being said, these videos are gonna be deep and we're gonna talk about lots of things while talking about books. Those are the challenges that I'm most concerned about, is consistency, feeling like my work is good enough, and fitting in somewhere and being a part of the BookTube community. When did you start reading is the next question. So I feel like I started reading really young. Like I said, I don't really have anyone I can ask, but I do remember learning to read Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. I loved it. I loved reading because it was like a portal to another place that I could go when where I wasn't fun to be. And so I've read for a really long time, as long as I can remember, honestly. And I remember getting so excited to go to the library at my school. We had library day where we could check out new books, and I remember being so excited. There's one book that I will remember for the rest of my life that I checked out. I don't know who it's from. I've tried to figure this out. The storyline, basically, it was about a teacher who was actually a witch, and she had this big, huge brooch on her shirt that gave her magical powers. And I remember I was just obsessed with that book. And that was in grade school. So yeah, for as long as I can remember, really. And I love it too because now my daughter is in first grade and she gets to have library days. And so we all get excited on library days because we all read books together at the end of the night. Every night we read a book with her. And so it's always exciting when we get a new one for the week. It's just kind of cool. It's like a really fun tradition, and it's really beautiful to see her enjoy books just as much as I do and as much as I did as a child too. The next question is, where do you read? So I read everywhere. Let me tell you, I read everywhere. I have a Kindle that I love to read with, and my husband bought me like the Kindle stand with the remote and all of this stuff. I take that shit everywhere. I read in the bathtub, I read on the couch, I read in my office, I read in the car sometimes. If I'm going on a trip, you can bet on it that I will have my Kindle or a book with me, and I will be reading wherever I'm staying. In our old house, I had a really cozy office, but there was no like reading area or reading nook for me in my old office. And so this one, we're working on getting it put together this weekend actually. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I am not a person who is picky about where I will read. Even if we're going to like family's house, this is bad, but sometimes even if we're going to like my mother-in-law's house and I'm just like drained from socializing, I will literally just take my Kindle and go sit outside while my husband and her visit, and like I just go read. And it's fun. So yeah, I read wherever I can at any time that I can. What genres do you read? Okay, so my top genres are probably romance, romantasy, fantasy, dark romance, rom-coms. Also, I am open to any books. I just read like a serial killer book, which is totally out of my natural like topics and genre that I would read, but I really enjoyed it. So you know, fiction for sure, I read a lot of. I'm open to anything. I've read a lot of self-development books. I don't really like reading those anymore because I burnt myself out on like constantly trying to be a better version of myself, and now I'm like, I just read for fun because it brings me joy and it makes me love life more. I read pretty much any genre, but the top ones that I read most often are those. I also kind of like psychological thrillers, which is really interesting because I am not a psychological thriller girly. I don't like movies like that very much, but I have read a few psychological thriller books and I actually really enjoyed them. So yeah, I'm pretty open to whatever. The problem for me is that I get stuck in what's comfortable. So if you guys have any recommendations that are outside of my normal genres, or even if they're inside the genres that I told you, if you have any of your favorite books that you recommend, put those in the comments because I'm always looking for something that is kind of outside of my norm. Right now, you guys, I cannot share my book collection because my office is completely torn apart right now because we're redoing it. Hopefully this weekend we'll get a lot done. I have a dream of having an in-home library. What reader doesn't, right? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen someday. And and maybe I can just manifest that and take you guys along the journey until that day comes. And maybe in like a year or 2 years, we're gonna be watching another video and like, she did it. There's the fucking in-home library. We're gonna manifest that, right, together. In my office, we're eventually gonna put in some built-in shelves too, but right now we're trying to get everything in our new house put together, and it's just taking a little bit. If you're new to my channel, we just moved in October, so my house is still kind of like in disarray. I added one question to the end just for fun, because why not? I have to put my own unique spin on this, right? But anything else fun that you want to share with everyone here? I mean, I added that question and now I'm like stumped about like, is there anything else fun I want to share with everyone? One of my biggest dreams and goals in life, especially in 2024, is to grow my community, be consistent on this channel, but also I really want to write books. That's one of my dreams. I've always wanted to write books. When I was in elementary school, I took a like publishing course and we got to write like our own book. I just really am obsessed and I want to write my own books. I am a writer. I write a lot for my online business and email list, and I absolutely adore it. People tell me all the time that I'm a good writer, but I am absolutely petrified of writing a book. And not because I'm scared it will flop, but the opposite. I'm scared that it will do well. Again, that like fear of visibility, even though that's what I desire to do with my life. I desire to be a writer. It's just so confusing. Tell me you have complex PTSD without telling me you have complex PTSD, because that's how it is. Like, this is what I want, but my mind is like, it's scary, it's too scary, pump the brakes, girl. That's one fun thing I would say. Another fun thing is that a lot of the books that I read, my partner actually will read at the same time. He's a very slow reader though. I read very fast. So that's been really cool for our relationship, just like connecting with one another, having him read some of the books that I've read. He's not really into spice or smut. Like the 5th book in ACOTAR was a little too much for him, A Court of Silver Flames. I fucking love that book. But for him, it was a little too much smut. So he doesn't read some of like the dark romance books. I don't think he's ever read a dark romance book ever, and I don't know if he ever will. I think it's really fun to read the same book together, and it kind of creates this connection point that is fun and just joyful and silly sometimes, you know? So that's another fun thing. I'm Rachel. I struggle with mental health. I am diagnosed OCD and ADHD. I'm an introvert, INFP in the Myers-Briggs test, if you took that personality test. I have a 7-year-old daughter, which is just insane to even think that I have a 7-year-old daughter. I come from a really small town in the middle of nowhere. I graduated with 46 people in my class. Then I left for the Air Force, and here I am in a tiny town in Texas, and just on BookTube with you, my friend. I'm really excited for 2024, and I feel like it's gonna be such a transformational year for all of us. I'm rambling. I'm gonna let you guys go, but thank you for being here for this BookTube newbie tag. If you wanna subscribe, I would love to have you in my community, but just know you don't have to. You can always come back and check out my videos. I hope that you all have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you next week for our video. Bye.